Hi, everyone. We have author Sabrina here, and she's going to let us know a little bit about herself.
Hi. So my name is Sabrina, aka Glenese. If you're trying to look me up or Google me. I am 34. I've written a book called Family First about a set of triplets. I'm originally from Jamaica, but I live in England, and I have two wonderful boys. Other than that, I am just a happy, jolly, witty, no nonsense person.
Okay, and what inspired you to start writing?
What inspired me to start writing was I couldn't find anything to read. Like I had exhausted myself with reading stuff, and I wanted something new to read. I just felt like everything I was reading was the same, and I went to the library, and there was nothing in there that was of interest to me. Because normally I read urban fiction, but so I decided to go over to the other side of the library and see what they had to read, and I read a couple of books there that was of interest. But then it's like everything in the library every time I flipped it over, everything was dead. Okay. So I thought, I came back miserable one day, talking to my friend, and she was like, "Why don't you write a book?" I'm like, "No." She says, "No, you're always talking to yourself anyway when you're reading your books. I'm sure you can write one." And that's what started it. I started writing and ended up with, like, within 3 months, I had a whole complete book finished.
Wow, 3 months. And are you self-published?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I used a self-publishing firm who helped me market and publishing. They helped me to create my book.
Okay. And how long have you been writing?
For about 4 years.
Okay. And are you working on book number 2?
I've actually finished book number 2. Nice. In the series, and book number 3 in the series. So I'm now working on the standalone book because I thought, no, let's give Family First a break and write something else.
Okay.
Write another story about someone else.
So did you experience any writer's block?
Yes. At some points I was like, oh, what else is gonna happen? What can happen to this person? I need some, like, I'll get to a point in the book where I'm like, something dramatic needs to happen. Someone needs to die. And I'm like, no, I don't want to kill anyone. What else can happen? Someone needs to have a fight. Or, instead of killing them off, I just made them have a fight instead.
Okay.
Or an argument, or I have to think of sinister. And when I couldn't think of anything, I just started from the beginning and start reading through what I've wrote and editing it myself and adding bits and pieces that comes to mind. And that generally gives me the flow again to continue the story.
Now tell us about Family First.
Well, Family First is my baby. It's about a set of triplets. So basically their mother is from Jamaica, like myself, and she came here in the 90s and fell in love with her professor at her university. Now, because she fell in love, she thought it was going to be magical. She's just graduated, so she don't have to hide it anymore. And to find out that she's pregnant. And then when she tells him, he dropped a huge bomb on her. No, you can't have the baby. No, we can't be together. No, we are not a family. We need to stop seeing each other, and you need to get rid of the baby. And she did what we all do as women. She cried, bawled, and begged and pleaded, obviously, instead of being the strong Black woman that she portrays herself to be. But he still decided, no, he already has a wife and has children, which she had no idea about. And through that, on her way to have the abortion, the triplets was going crazy. So she decided to have them, only to turn out, instead of having one child, she had 3. So that's the miracle of the start of the book, which then it goes on to the actual triplets. They've grown. They've They're very successful in everything they do. One's a dancer, she teaches dance class, and the other one's a fashion designer. She has a shop. And the brother, so there's two girls, one boy. The brother, he basically takes care of the family. He's the head of the household. He takes care of the family. He invests his money well, their money well, so they're well off. They don't need to for anything. But where you have triplets and three headstrong Black triplets at that, you're going to have nothing but disaster. So there's nothing but arguing between siblings. And because you have one dude and two females, the females are always arguing. He's stuck in playing pig in the middle, you know, and the only safe haven he has is his grandmother and his on and off again girlfriend, who he wants to marry but doesn't want to marry him. Basically, in this book, every typical scenario that normally happens, where I flipped it. So where you'd have a Black man run out on the woman, no, I flipped it and made the white guy run off. Where you would have the man who don't want a commitment, don't want anything, just wants to let's be friends but still have sex. I flipped it and goes, no, she don't want your commitment. So I twist everything around, everything that's normal you expect. No, I flipped it on. I just flipped it right over and made it the opposite. Like every female I write about, I want to portray the females as these strong, confident women. So women who make their own mind, women who don't bend to the rules, who make their own rules and do things for themselves. I made sure that I portrayed these women as these, as well as being vulnerable, but I make sure that their vulnerability doesn't overshadow their confidence. Because a lot of time, every time I read a book, I'm thinking to myself, why is she so pathetic? But you start to think to yourself, oh my God, why did you do that? Why did you say that? In my book, I flipped it around. Yes, you're pathetic, but I always have a comeback. I make sure that I have a comeback because I don't want women to see themselves as this frail, fragile thing. Oh, I can't do this. No, you're frailly fragile. Get over it. That's the whole essence of the book in itself. It's super fun. I've put lots of hilarious jokes in it, so it's not always serious. Even though it's taken place in both England, the first section of the book takes place in England, then they go to America, and then they go to Jamaica to visit their grandmother. So they're taking a trip around to go visit their Malta-mouth grandmother, by the way. She's Jamaican, so because of that, there's lots of laughs. She don't take no nonsense. She's 80 years old and she has no nonsense. And that character actually stems from one of my favorite books. And I still don't know who wrote the book, by the way. But the character, that old lady character, has always stayed in my head.
Okay.
So I thought I'll pay homage to that old lady, that character from my favorite book, even though I don't know who wrote it. So I put that in there, which brings it all together, because you get the essence of why the girls are like the way they are, because they grew up with their grandmother like that old back in the day resistance that old women have. Mm-hmm. I made sure I put that in the young people now, and that's what I wanted to portray through the book, and make the guy more vulnerable, because we don't see a lot of men who are vulnerable, especially Black men. They're taught not to cry, don't do this, you got to be that. So I made sure that he was more vulnerable than the female.
Okay.
And more, why can't you do this my way? Even though he's the head of the household and he is strong and he is determined, but I want everyone to see a male vulnerable side. So that's how I wrote him in the book. But most women, I made sure I gave everyone a nice book boyfriend, because that's what I always wanted. I have my own little book boyfriend, so I gave my own little book boyfriend to everyone.
And we all love a good book boyfriend. Definitely.
Well, mine has 3, so you get to choose.
Okay.
You get to choose between 4 sexy men. The way I describe them, you put it together in your own head. Everyone's going to have an image for themselves.
Right. Okay, so show us the cover.
So that's the cover of the book.
And what do you hope readers take away from reading this book?
This book was mostly done for the fun of reading. So not only do I want them to enjoy it, but I want them to realize that as Black individuals, we can achieve other things as well, other than gang-related stuff. In the book, there is a portion of gang-related stuff, but I put a positive spin on it. Instead of drug dealing and, gunslinging, I have the character uses money for a positive light in the community instead of instilling drugs. So even though it's gang related, it doesn't always necessarily have to be gang and violence all the time, as we see in our community. And that's what I want people to get from it. We're not always about gang and about violence when it comes to a gang. Mm-hmm. We're about protecting our own, protecting our family, protecting who we are, protecting our legacy. So that's what I want Black people to get from. That's what I want others to see about us, even though we're down. And yes, the color of our skin may be this, but we're not always about the gang life that you portray on TV.
And just give me a name. Who's your favorite character in the book?
Oh, Winter.
That was easy, huh?
Right. I don't get me wrong. I love Storm because he's my baby. But Winter, she's loud. She don't mince her words. She doesn't she's that friend you want to have because she's got your back straight off the back. Mm-hmm. I wrote it so that each person will you're going to be on Team Winter or you're going to be Team Autumn or Team Storm. You're going to have to choose, but I'm Team Winter straight.
Okay. And where can we purchase your book?
You can find it on Amazon at the moment. It's you can get it on Kindle or on Amazon. Oh, in the UK, you can also order it from the Waterstones, which is a bookstore over here. At the moment, I'm trying to get it into Barnes and Noble. So hopefully soon it will be available in Barnes and Noble.
And where can we find you on social media?
I am on Instagram as Sabrina_book or Sabrina_Facey. That's Facey. And Sabrina is spelled Sbrina. Simply because if you Google Sabrina, you come up with nothing but the teenage witch.
Okay. Now you're a book reader, so tell us who's your favorite author, if you can name.
Wow. My favorite author is, I am absolutely now in love with Kwan. Okay. So even though you know exactly what you're getting from Kwan. Mm-hmm. You know where the book is going to be based. I feel safe reading Kwan or Carl Weber. I love Carl Weber or Kiki Swanson. Kiki.
Yes.
They were the first books I started reading. My bookshelf when I was younger was filled with nothing but Carl Weber and Kiki. Yes. When I was younger, but I've now fell in love with Kwan.
Yes, we love Kwan too. He came to he popped in on one of our meetings. And Kwan.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And Kwan is one of the authors that he will tell you, do not fall in love with any of the characters in his book because we know where it's going, right?
Exactly. I don't have a favorite character from Kwan because he killed my favorite character.
Yes, he does. He always kills off our favorite.
Ashley and Drake Cuevas.
Yes.
The Cartel.
Yes.
I am digging the hell out of that, out of ethics. I am digging the hell out of ethic and the Cartel.
Yes. So is there anything else that you would like to tell us about your book?
Other than you should definitely get it. It's going to be a whole experience. Like those who've read it already, keep saying I should turn it into a screenplay. It should be it should be a movie. So it's a definite something you're going to want. Like literally, once you start reading, the first page grabs you. I have been told that it is a comparison to the 50 Shades of Grey sequel. The way I described everything.
Wow.
The description of things are very 50 Shades of Grey, minus all the hitting and slapping the red room.
You can't take out the red room now.
But everything else is pretty much. It was that's what the first review I got was like, this is better than 50 Shades of Grey. I was like, wow. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on being a self-published author. You know, we wish you much success.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, everybody. That was author Sabrina discussing her book, Family First. I'm going to drop the links below. Make sure you like and subscribe.